We've talked about the distinction between adjustment of status and consular processing. Both are ways to get a green card through an immigration case, but the adjustment of status allows an immigrant who's in the country to stay here and get their green card without leaving, whereas the consular process ends in an appointment at the consulate or the embassy abroad. And so if an immigrant is in the US but they're doing the consular process, they have to leave at the end. So if someone's in the country, they're going to prefer an adjustment of status over the consular process. However, not everybody qualifies. If you're married to a U.S. citizen or you're the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen and you entered the country legally, even if you overstayed 5 years ago, you can do an adjustment of status, barring other criminal issues. But let's say you enter the country without a visa. How else might one be able to adjust status? Well, if they were the beneficiary of a petition before 2001, that means their case started more than 20 years ago. Or if they've been the victim of domestic violence or cruelty in their relationship, or if someone in the family has served in the military. These are all exceptions or ways that people can get adjustment of status. Everybody else, people who entered without a visa, they don't qualify for an exception. They have to do the consular process, which generally requires the family petition, a waiver if they need it, and then the application at the consulate abroad, ending in the appointment. It's a doable process. I do a lot of consular processing at my law firm. We are successful in almost all of our cases because we're very, very careful. And that's my pointer to somebody who's doing the consular process because it's their only option. Just be really careful. Make sure you've got everything lined up. Make sure there are no issues. Make sure if you're working with a lawyer, you've told them everything that they've asked you and you've told them the truth. Don't surprise your lawyer when you're in the consular process. And definitely make sure you have a lawyer if you're in the consular process. This is not a case that someone should go through on their own. When an immigrant is going through the consular process and they're living in the United States, that means they have to leave the country to get their visa to come back in. And of course, it's not a guarantee. Nothing in immigration is a guarantee. And we have to be very careful with consular processing cases. The truth is, most of the people I talk to and I tell them, you're going to be fine. If you're telling me everything that's true, based on what I'm seeing, you are safe to do the consular process and we can move forward. But I can think of one instance where a client didn't tell me everything. At one point, she had tried to enter the country and she had been apprehended, and she didn't tell me that. And she got a note placed on her record, but she thought because she had given a fake name when she was caught at the border that nothing would come out. Except they do fingerprint appointments in these cases. And when she went to her interview, she left the country, went to her interview, and they told her at the interview, we see a record in here that you were caught coming in. And so she had to call us and tell us, actually, this thing happened and I didn't think it would come out. In her case, we ended up having to file a fraud waiver, and it took a lot longer. We eventually got her back in, but she was separated from her family for about 1.5 years during that time. So I think that this case is important because it highlights the risks of consular processing, the need to do it carefully and well, and always, always tell your attorney everything. Tell them the truth. It gives us the ability to protect you. And I will tell a client if they shouldn't go forward. This isn't a good idea for you. You're not going to like the outcome. I'll tell people that all day long. I'm not trying to push people into immigration cases, but I can't tell people the real risks ahead of them if they don't tell me everything I need to know. So we've got to have a relationship of truth always between our clients and the attorney.